I'm Kylie from Texas, and you're watching College Volleyball Weekly.
I'm Kelly from Stanford Beach Volleyball, and you're watching or listening to College Volleyball Weekly Beach Top 20.
I'm Allie from Florida State, and you're watching College Volleyball Weekly Beach Top 20.
This is Jaden Whitrmarsh from UCLA, and you're on College Volleyball Weekly. Go Bruins!
Good day, everyone, and welcome to College Volleyball Weekly Beach Top 20. And we're actually in episode 8. We should have been episode 9, but we skipped last week since I was at Jaden's senior day, along with a few of our teammates at UCLA. Got to see some great play live, and I don't regret it at all. It's such a great team and some great people on screen. I see Kylie Wickley of Texas, whom I got to see this last weekend, and Jaden Whitmarsh of none other than the UCLA. Good day, ladies. Good to have you back on.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, we were already talking about one of the teams whose season's already done, but it's a new program, and it happens to be the program that Kylie's at. So wanted Kylie to share a little bit about their first season under head coach and former coach to Jaden, Stein Metzger, and what we should expect to see here in the future, of course, in summer, without spilling all the beans.
Well, we had our first ranked win this past weekend, beat number 20, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We had, I feel like, a pretty good season, a lot of learning moments. We had a lot of non-beach players in our lineup that learned a lot, super fun to get to know them and all that. And then a lot of our beach players got a bunch of experience too, and I'm excited to see where we go.
Well, I thought was funny was meeting Aiden Ames and then discovering that she's actually going to be at prom this weekend and that she's now officially retired from the beach volleyball team because she's there signed to play indoor. So, and she was pretty darn good for someone who hasn't played that much indoor or beach, but she is from Manhattan Beach or Redondo Union. Sorry, Aiden Ames family. I know those are mortal enemies. So, but a lot of good play this last weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Who in your eyes stuck out play-wise on your team? I know you want to say all of them, but we want to be very objective here. Who played good ball?
I think our threes were Presley, Wright, and Ava Patton. They just were super solid, like acing, using the wind super well. Just did a great job. And then our fives, two indoor girls, Reagan Rutherford, who transferred from Kentucky, and then Jenna Wennis, who was one of the outsides this past season. They won and they killed it, and they did great.
Well, the big top 20 win for the program, and without a doubt, Stein has got some great tools waiting in the wings, otherwise known as red shirts, like you, Kylie, and a few other that are just hanging back, waiting for their opportunity to take court next year, right?
Yes, we're excited.
Well, with that, let's go into our top 20 breakdown. As I was explaining to the girls that are here with me tonight, not a whole bunch of unexpected stuff happened in the 11s on, or we'll say 12 on. So we're going to go right to the 11 spot here. Washington, well, actually 13, because Washington and Georgia State split, and those are two very evenly balanced teams. It doesn't surprise me that they flipped 2-3 duels or 3-2, however you want to look at it. But Hawaii comes in number 11. They beat GCU and Portland 5-0, and they're idle this week until the Big West Championships. But Hawaii has always been, I think they kind of got overlooked the early part of the season because they hosted the gauntlet of tournaments. Is it the Outrigger, or they call it the Queens or Outrigger tournament on Queens Beach that Jaden was at? But what are your thoughts on Hawaii as they head into the postseason?
I can go. I think, like you were saying, Hawaii started off their season a little bit overlooked. But I think that they made some crucial partner switches and kind of like made some adjustments in their lineup that's been benefiting them. against some really good teams. So I think going into the postseason, they're a team that you definitely need to watch out for.
Well, just last week, Anna Maidman and Sydney Miller were the AVCA pair of the week. And I know another good number 5 pairs on your team, Jaden, and interesting that they were matched up. I'd like to see that happen again here sometime down the line of the postseason. Any thoughts on Hawaii, Kylie? Anything you know, any intel or chatter that you've heard?
Yeah, I think interesting to go idle the weekend before conference. That's I feel like pretty tough, but excited to see how they handle that.
Yeah. LSU had a 4-0 weekend, but I mean, no schools that would expect to give them any challenge, but they're going to basically head into their conference tournament, I believe, this coming weekend or in 2 weeks as well. So they hosted Southeast Louisiana, ULM, New Orleans, and Jacksonville, all with 5-0 wins. So yeah, I think LSU cannot look over or look by them at all. We know that they're capable of pulling some big upsets like they did in Manhattan Beach at East meets West. This is where it gets interesting here. Long Beach State comes in, faces LMU at the Center of Effort Challenge. And from what I can gather, there were no streams this year, but it was pretty high drama because the order of the finish were the ones which went to the Taylor Hagnon, Malia Gemantera. So they go up 1-0, and then is a tit for tat. Chloe Hooker, Cassie Chin get the first point for LMU. Then it goes to the threes of Long Beach State, Megan Widener, Natalie Glenn. Grab that one, go up 2-1. It goes to the fives of LMU, Maddie Fournette and Abby Thurup. That comes down to the 2 pairs, which ended up, of course, being a 3-set thriller. Savannah Standage and Julia Westby defeat Alicia Stevens and Isabel Reffel. I'm sure you are hearing the craziness on the courts there, Jaden.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it myself, but I could definitely hear it from the gym that we were warming up in. Yeah, I think that's a huge win for Long Beach. I think they're a gritty team, and I think they've had some partnership and lineup switches, which I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to do that because you can't really get in a rhythm with your partner. But I think Long Beach is a team to look out for, and I think that was definitely a really big win for them against LMU.
Yeah. Kylie, thoughts on Long Beach State? Anything?
Yeah, I think they got a good group of transfers too with like Savannah and everybody, and I think that they're just a bunch of like fighters, so yeah, good win for them.
Well, at this point in the game, it's LMU has they've got some big wins, but they also have been upset by some teams that are really close to them. And you never want to exclude a John Mayer coach team out. I mean, they're going to deliver. They got some big upsets. You know, obviously there was one at that same event there, which we'll cover when we pull up to that part of the polls. But um, both teams just seem to be. I don't think they've really peaked yet. They've been kind of just getting a feel out of their lineups, and even like last week when Long Beach was at UCLA, they dropped their ones to play the twos. I don't know if it's a matchup thing. I mean, this is all stuff I'm still learning because the strategy of the coaches, you just never know. It's like a big chess game. I think even you got UCLA has stayed pretty consistent. I think they switched their threes and fours. Actually, that's you. Jaden and Tessa went into the threes for a little bit, and Kenzie and Jess went to the fours. What was the rationale, or is that something you can tell to our I'm looking more at why coaches would do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year we've done a good job at keeping our partnerships together. We haven't had any like partner switches or anything. We have had like lineup switches, but I think the benefit of that is that you can get in a rhythm with your partner, like I was saying before. And I think that's actually such a huge part of it because, like, say you lose a game, it's about overcoming it and like learning from it instead of just having like it be like ripped away from you and you have to try to like figure out something else. So with us, it's less about like playing with different partners and it's just more about just being ready to play wherever you end up and it all means the same. It all counts for a point. So you gotta still play hard no matter where you are in the lineup.
Right. Kylie, anything to add on that? Being that this is your second home now, as far as your collegiate career, what have you seen as far as the partner switch or even just flight switch?
Yeah, I think so. My freshman year, I went fives to fours, and I think sometimes things just aren't working. You got to switch it up. You got to try different partnerships, see where you're at. And then last year, I stayed at the ones all year, and it was nice to like be consistent with the partner too, and just kind of learning through everything. But I think yeah, that's the rationale behind it.
Yeah. Let's go to their next team. They're actually uh they were tied 7 last week. Actually, I'm going to pull up the poll came out today, and they're down at 8, the California Golden Bears. Young, gritty team. They're in your Pac-12, Jaden, and seen them a handful of times, but a lot of promise for this young team.
Yeah.
What do you think they can do here in the postseason? Actually, they still have one more week of play, and let's see. Oh, actually, I think they're done. I actually was going to look that up, but they came out of the weekend with 2 5-0 wins against Sac State, and actually, they're going to be at the Stanford Invitational. GCU, Washington, and Stanford.
Mm.
First meeting with GCU, they suffered a 2-3 loss last weekend against Washington, or 2 weekends ago, and an 0-5 loss to Stanford in the beginning of the season. Can this team do it?
Yeah,
Based on what we know.
I think Cal is a great team. I mean, they consistently show up every single season like a little bit better, which is just really impressive and like a huge testament to the coaching and the recruiting and all that. But yeah, I think Cal's going to be a team to look out for, especially in postseason. And with them being in the Pac-12, yeah, they're definitely a really good team, and we have to bring our A game for sure against a strong team with great blockers and great defenders. So yeah.
Yeah. Kylie, anything to add about Cal?
Yeah, I feel like Cal is one of those teams that's kind of solidified themselves in like the top 10 for years to come. I feel like they get better every year, and since they're so young, they'll continue to get better and work out everything, and they're just a good team.
It's funny looking at Cal and their mortal enemy, Stanford. I wish Kelly was here tonight. But I feel like Cal is where Stanford was at 2 years ago. They're hanging right around the 10-8, or they're just about to break in there around 12, and they broke the top 10. And gosh, Megan Osa is doing incredible work up there and bringing some really good, talented players in. And they're not just from a certain area. She's bringing them in from all over the United States. So she's doing some solid recruiting, and it's showing. Yeah, and they're all with freshmen, sophomore, junior. So they got some. Well, I see them only going up here. Unfortunately, well, actually, this is the big news is no Pac-12 next year. It's going to be the MPSF. So the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation will house all these teams that were formerly competing in the Pac-12. So I'll be interested to see how that tournament scenario plays out. Let's go up to well, there were 7 last week, but biggest jumper of the week, at least in the AVCA coaches poll, tying the program highest ranking, Cal Poly, the Mustangs. Another team that Jaden actually you're at their home this last weekend.
Mhm.
But what do we know about Cal Poly? Let's start with you, Kylie, and see what insight you can provide to the Mustangs.
Yeah, I think again, Todd's a great coach. He's recruited really well. They've got pretty good squad across all flights, honestly, and super competitive program, I think. And I feel like they've been like secretly working, like Ali likes to say. And yeah, they've been doing well all season. So this weekend was definitely a big weekend for them.
Yeah. Jaden, how about your thoughts on the Mustangs?
Yeah, well, first of all, Cal Poly is a place that I feel like a lot of people or a lot of players want to go. Their facility is absolutely amazing. And the scoreboard, like it's so fun. And it was kind of reminding me of LSU. Just having an amazing facility is so attractive for young players. So I think that's a really great thing for Todd and the coaching staff to try to get some more talented players. But yeah, their team this year is super good. And I feel like at the beginning of the season, they were a team that was a little bit overlooked. But now they're in like the top four, which is incredible and very well deserved. I think we had our closest match with Cal Poly this weekend, and although it was crazy weather, um, I think it's just like a total, I don't know. I think they're just a great team, and they're going to definitely cause some more upsets in the future.
I think it's interesting about the Mustang lineup is their 1s through 5s. Everyone has at least 21 wins in each of their flights, and I don't think I've seen that consistently across even all the top 5 teams. So I mean, they're playing with great confidence. Obviously, one of your former teammates, Lindsay Sparks, has been a spark to the program, so to speak. But I mean, they win when she's on the court, and I think that her grandma leadership, because she's actually referred herself as a grandma of the team, is showing. I mean, they're probably learning a ton from her and Todd. And you look at the stuff that Piper Furch is doing. I mean, she's kind of an undersized blocker, but she is getting a lot of touches, and she's so fiery to play against. So, um, but yeah, the Mustangs are looking really good this season, and coming in number 4 at they're basically tied with Florida State, which is our next team here. And unfortunately, Allie's not with us tonight. But we were talking earlier this last weekend. They too were at the Center of Effort Challenge, and we'll let Jaden speak to the Seminoles and what she observed, and I'll try and go into what I see on paper since it wasn't broadcast.
Yeah. Um, I think FSU is just, I mean, they're always a great program. They're always a great team. And what's really tricky about them is that you never know who you're going to play. Their lineup is always changing and it's always different. And I mean, I'm not in their position, so I don't know if they like that or they don't care. But um, to be a team that's playing against them, it's difficult because you never know like who you're going to play. You have to scout like 5 different players, which can be a little bit exhausting. But yeah, I think they're a great team. And I think what's special about them is that they have a lot of depth. And I think that just like shows the fact that they can put anyone in, shows like the depth in their program. So yeah.
Yeah, Kylie, you know a few of the girls, and obviously we know Allie. But we were talking before we went on, like there's been a lot of lineup shifting in the Florida State lineup, and trying to figure out if that was a rest thing or if it was a, hey, we need to make some adjustments to start winning. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely got to be tough to be switching around that much, not really knowing what you're doing, especially this close to the postseason.
Mhm.
Conference championships about to start. You are like not sure what exactly is going on, but I think Brooks, one of those people who's always has a plan, always knows what she's doing. So I feel like they probably trust in her and what she's doing there. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think they've got this week off, which will be interesting because basically have this entire week here, and then the CCSA tournament doesn't start till the 26th. It's almost a full 2-week break. Does that work for or against them? What do you think, Jane? You're the experienced one on screen here.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I feel like that's just like an awkward amount of time because it's like it's too much time to rest, in my opinion. But I mean, maybe they need it. I know that they've gone on like I don't know, weeks long, 2 week long like travel tournaments where they're playing a ton. So maybe honestly they need it. And just a little reboot before like postseason. It might be good for them.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Kylie, on the Florida State?
I think she covered it.
Well, I actually jumped LMU. They went 1-3 this last week, in which Their only win was, well, it's not an only win. There is a big win against Florida State, and they won big 4-1. So yeah, I think maybe the playing around may have made that score kind of lopsided, but it's not like Florida State doesn't have the athletes. I mean, but LMU has solid pairs, throughout their lineup as well. I noticed that Anna Paloya didn't play a whole bunch, and she usually plays at the threes or fours, who's their Italian blocker. So I'm curious. That's kind of a big person to miss out, being at such a big tournament, especially with the WCC tournament just around the corner.
I
So
also I also noticed Abby Thorup that was on the twos now on the fives, which is a crazy jump. She's such a good defender, so I was pretty surprised seeing that.
what is I guess the rule on that? I mean, twos to fives. I thought you had to be within one of
Yeah,
the normal spot.
I think she just continuously jumped down. I just know that she started in the twos at the beginning of the season, so
Yeah.
she eventually made her way down there, and she's playing with Maddie Fournette in the fives, which is a super strong fives pair for LMU. So
I believe they're the AVCA pair of the week.
that makes sense.
She jumps out of fives and gets the pair of the week with Mads Fournette. That's good for Mads Fournette. Well, for both of them. So now TCU is another team that was at they call it a Center of Effort Challenge, and they went 2-2 on the weekend, and they too are shifting a lot. What do we know about TCU where they're at? Because they were, pushing number one at one point, and now like drifting kind of back there, and they've made changes to the lineup. What do you think about what you see about your fellow state school there, Kylie?
I think Haley Hamlet is killing it. She's pretty awesome. She's been winning. She stayed at the ones with the split with Annalena and her, and she's continued to do well there. Um, twos have been, I think, having kind of a rough go. But yeah, they've got a lot of solid players in their lineup.
Yeah, the Haley Hamlet actually has the best record in the nation as an individual. She's 25-3 at the ones. And before being moved to the twos, Lena Camille was 19-3 with her. So I thought that was like the most optimal pairing, being that they're the 2023 ABCA pairs champions. It was interesting that they broke them up, but let's get Jaden's thoughts on it.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Rob. I feel like they were such a strong pair together, and it kind of seems like Haley's doing still, she's doing well with Sutton, but I think that Lena might be better in the ones with Haley. But I don't know. I think TCU has great coaching, and I think they probably know what they're doing. Um,
Hector,
yeah,
Malo, they don't know what they're talking about.
yeah, they know their team, so I think going into postseason they'll be able to not step it up, but just like play their game. And I know TCU is such a great team and a great program, so I think they're another team to look out for in the postseason.
Well, it's interesting because the reason why they're undergun, and I have air quotes there, is because a couple of athletes are trying to qualify for the Olympics, and they're playing in Tepic and all that right now as we speak. So imagine if they were all there and what that team would be like. You'd be seeing Haley Hamlin at the threes. I'm like, what? Any other
Yeah, it's
thoughts, Kylie?
funny. It's funny, like all those players going to try to qualify for the Olympics, and I feel like everyone is kind of like, oh, they're not going to be as good this year, and they're still top five team. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they couldn't be more wrong. You should have taken. Oh, we don't bet in college. Sorry. Um, which brings us to the top three. Another Pac-12 school, and Kelly, we needed you here. Bilardi, I know that you are studying hard and doing your thing. Stanford had a great weekend, going undefeated, but I totally overlooked their overall record. They are 24-3 as a team. Amazing. Led by their twos, Taylor Wilson and Ruby Sora. I have their winning record up, but they have I think they only have 3 losses on the season with them both. So what do we know about Stanford? I'd ask Kelly, but we should text her and just, repeat what she's saying on here. But they've made some changes to their lineup as well. Kelly was with Ashley Vincent at the fours. They split them up. Now Kelly's at the threes, but they've got Brooke Rockwell playing with Solani Hodel. I mean, they've got like this arsenal of ballers. So let's start with you, Kylie. I know there's some Texans on that team too.
Yeah, they have a few Texans. I think that Andrew's done a great job of getting a great group of girls. Like I feel like Kelly always says that they have awesome freshmen, but they have a lot of awesome sophomores and juniors and seniors. And I think having those freshmen in the lineup getting experience like Brooke out of ones and Ruby out of twos, like that's great for the program and they'll continue to be up
Yeah.
there. I can't, yeah.
How about you, Jaden?
Yeah, I agree with everything Kylie said. It's cool to see the growth of Stanford. I feel like we always talk about it, but yeah, they're a program now that's going to be up there in the rankings for times to come because of um their freshmen, yes, but also just like their school is becoming a more attractive place to be because of how well they're doing and they're continuously on the rise. So I think that more people will want to go there. And yeah, they're definitely a really, really strong team. And I think that they can definitely cause some damage.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to our last 2 teams, and intentionally did that because the 2 teams, Jaden is on one of them, and she's facing off that other team on Thursday. And I'm hoping will be on Pac-12 Network because can't make it up this week, but it's USC, UCLA, the battle for LA, the true battle for LA, or is it the Lexus Cup? What are you guys calling it now? But USC comes in 27-4 overall. Their only loss at the Center of Effort Challenge was to the Bruins of UCLA. So they're led by their ones of Megan Kraft and Delaney Maple, who are 25-2 on the season together. Maddie Kriz at the threes was Grace Seitz, the 13-1. Ashley Pater and Maddie White only have 1 loss together as a pair at the fours. So we'll start with we'll go to Kylie and then to Jaden. Thoughts on USC, Kylie?
I think that they had pretty solid lineup this weekend. They did really well against everyone except for UCLA. And I don't know. I feel like last year around this time, um, a lot of us like counted them out and we're like, oh, they're not gonna win like the national championship. And then I feel like they caught us by surprise. So I think race till the end for them. So
Yeah. All right, Jaden, here's your home run hit out of the park. Also need to mention they also will see LMU, but USC is 2-0 against LMU, both with 4-1 wins against them. But go for it, Jaden.
Yeah, I mean, this past weekend, um, we knew we could be facing the Trojans, and like Kylie said, they made some lineup switches. They moved the Norrises down to the threes, and then they moved Maddie Kriz and Maddie White up to the twos, and then Ashley Pater and Grace Seitz in the fours. And then they also have Madison Gellner in the five. So like they've made like all these changes except for Delaney and Meg. And yeah, again, I think it shows the depth in their program. They're obviously a great team and they have great players. Um, but yeah, playing them is always going to be an emotional match. And yeah, we took the dub this last weekend, but like you say, we are going to play against them on Thursday, as well as LMU, who is also a great program. So it's definitely going to be a hard fought day.
I haven't seen the schedule, but I imagine they're going to be doing senior night for them with that class of Megan Delaney and the graduate students that are now in there, along with Olivia Bakos and all that. But are you guys closing out the day against each other? Do you
Correct.
know?
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow. And it looks like I just looked, it's going to be on the USC's live stream. So we want to watch the action, but we don't want to jump there yet. We don't talk about the Bruins of UCLA, number one again in the recent college beach VB and the AVCA polls. You've got Ensley Alden, Nally Miskowski leading the way at the fives at 26-2. Perry Brennan, Dev Newberry, 28-4. Maggie Boyd and Lexi Denberg, 26-6. And of course, Jaden Tessa pushing up at the fours, but who knows? They could be at the threes. You never know. So, how is UCLA feeling after this 4-0 weekend at the Center of Effort Challenge?
Um, I mean, it's great to go 4-0 against those amazing teams. I think it gives us a lot of confidence going into the last few weeks of season. And it's nice knowing that we can make these huge wins and we can beat anyone. It's just about us showing up and playing our Bruin volleyball and sticking with each other. And I think this year we have a really, really special team. And obviously we have new coaches. And I think that our program is just continuously getting better. And I don't know, I'm really excited going into postseason. I think it's going to be really special, especially with this being my last season, as well as Lexi, Devin, and Riley, who are all amazing athletes and players. And yeah, so I'm really excited. It feels good to be sitting at the top, but obviously we're still the underdog. We haven't won yet, so.
Still work to be done, right?
Mhm.
All right, Kylie, outsider perspective of the number one ranked team in the nation.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I should be saying this, but I think a lot of us were really excited to see like what would happen this year with you guys. And I feel like Jenny's done an awesome job. And I think it's super exciting because all of you guys are such awesome people. Like seeing the success is really awesome. So makes me really happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Well, you're the last of the COVID people. Is that correct? Your class?
I believe so. Yeah, well, I'm technically in the class above, but yeah, I
But
think
like,
you're.
yeah, it's crazy the history that you get that all the teams have gone through, the seniors this year have gone through.
Mhm.
Just since the world shut down in 2020.
Pretty
And then
gnarly going through that in college.
you know what is crazy? And I share this because um I remember when the first call came out is Wednesday, March 13th at Merle Norman Stadium. I was watching you guys, SC, Pepperdine, and LMU. I remember one of the dads on his phone saying, "Hey, they just closed down the entire Utah basketball game." I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, someone had COVID." And then everything from there just domino effect, shut down sports, everything. In fact, at that duel, there were no fans allowed. There were fans watching from the parking structure above Merle Norman, but I was media, so I got to be on the court side. But man, that was just crazy seeing that all fall as quickly as it did.
Mhm.
So not the best of the memories, but a memory nonetheless. um, hey, it's going to be an exciting week, and with that, we ramp up into the conference tournaments. So anyone that's watching, listening, I encourage you to follow these ladies on screen. You know, they're going to be following everything that's going on. Follow their teams, follow any other teams in the conferences because collegiate beach volleyball is got so much momentum right now, and it's exciting. Just watch the duels happen. Watch it real time if you can be there. Hopefully there'll be some streams for the tournaments. Obviously, Pac-12 will be doing the Pac-12. Pac-12 Network will be doing the Pac-12 conference, and you'll be seeing some other ones through Big West and um, all the CCSA. Hopefully, we'll get some streams up, but and more. But I'll post as needed. But as always, Jade Whitmarsh of UCLA, Kylie Wickley of Texas. Appreciate your time tonight and your insight to the 2024 season, which is coming to its highest point, Tournament Madness. So. Thank you guys, ladies. Thanks for listening to College Volleyball Weekly. Be sure to follow Rob Aspero at the Rob on the Mic on Instagram and at Rob on the Mic on Twitter.